Today, got another episode of Monetize You Haters. For this episode of 4K and Sake, I'm going to preface it. Guys going to be calling in 2 minutes. Let's go ahead and preface this real quick. Just real quick. So, this right here was a tweet that I sent out. Really is just a retweet, quote tweet. Some chick, apparently, she says herself she had never forgot. She said she'll never forget when a boy in her high school chemistry class said that you'll never work for NASA. And then the boy, I guess, proceeded to laugh at her. And she said that was the day that she decided to become an engineer. So I said, big shout out to the boy for your inspiration. You old one. And apparently that rubbed some people the wrong way. I've been called a misogynistic piece of shit, among other things, by some very, let's say, weird people. So one of those tweeted this out, which he'll have to answer to, in addition to some other things. But the guy that'll be calling in is this guy who, of course, pulled the Master's card, that obviously has the racial connotations and what have you, which is ironic considering what's popped this whole conversation off. So I said, okay, let's call in. Let's have a discussion because we were going back and forth. And there seemed to be some disingenuous stuff going on. So I decided to have him call in. I told him he can call in 12:05. So here in a little bit, he should be calling in. But yeah, this rubbed people the wrong way, which is weird. I mean, it was of all the things that I say that should probably send you in, not probably, but or rather that you think would send you into a frenzy, this one being the one of me just affirming and telling big shout out to the person that inspired her to do, by her standards, something that was great. She said it, not me. All I did was affirm. And apparently that rubbed some people the wrong way. Had a guy calling me again a misogynistic piece of shit, in addition to some other things. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this guy here, and then we're going to talk about some other things as well. We have some comic book stuff that I want to make sure that we end up going through in addition to that. So, yeah, we'll get this guy to call in. He should be calling in here in a little bit, and we'll kind of go from there. But, yes, I guess just speaking on this, I guess until he calls in, we for sure have so much going with not just obviously myself, but as well as everything with got band stuff coming up, got comic book stuff going on, just busy. I've been busy, and these next couple of months are just going to get really, really crazy. And I'm excited, though, believe it or not. I am excited. I'm stoked for what is to come, just considering that I say this every show, I have the financial capacity to pursue a lot of things that I've wanted to pursue before. And I thought that they were going to be more further down the line, things that I would do when I was later in age, but it seems that that's not the case. Thanks to the guys that support me. It's so much growth that we've had over the last half decade, and I'm going to be doing some pursuing in that regards. So, yeah. But yeah, also let me preface this by the call in, by the way, like this kind of weird guy right here, who is not the guy that's calling in, but again, same group of folks. Some of these guys are associated with the Libertarian Party. They call themselves Getting Mad. I probably should have prefaced that long ago. And there's because folks you either are not libertarian, and you don't associate with the party, or you're not familiar with what's going on with the politics that are associated with that stuff. But there are, unfortunately, albeit a lot of. All right, we'll get to that in a minute. Let's have this guy, let's go ahead. This guy's calling in. Let's see what he has to say. What's going on, man? You're live.
Oh, okay.
You there? Can you hear me? Yo.
Oh, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you loud and clear. Excuse me. Appreciate you calling in. So we can kind of discuss. I've already prefaced it with the audience. As far as everything that's going on, and kind of setting the scene, background of everything that we kind of discussed and what led to you calling in. So I guess we can kind of just go ahead and get directly into it without wasting time. I'll get into the previous, like the thing that popped all of this off and some of the I guess issues that you may have had with a tweet of mine. But let's just go ahead and start right here instead. And this was obviously what kind of incentivized me to have you call in. The tweet says, and I quote, "Keep going, Eric. Your masters love you." I would like you to explain what exactly you mean by that.
Oh, that's relating to coonery. Absolutely.
One more time.
Right? And that's completely relating to coonery.
Okay, and go ahead and just for the sake of myself and the audience, for the sake of myself.
No, I assume your audience would already kind of know what that means.
Well, I mean, it means different things to different people, but I just want you to explain what that means and why you wanted to certainly use that against me. I guess that would mean that I don't know. Apparently, am doing something apparent to coonery, and I would love for you to explain that.
Easily.
Okay.
It's making claims that I feel like you have no backing in any solid ideology, just to make claims in front of a mostly white audience at that as a black person. It is a statement relating to that. Again, this is me on my bullshit though, like I stated previously in the comments. So then it's not me actually saying, oh well, I really believe he's a coon, he's doing X, Y, Z. Again, I believe it's coonery. I'm not gonna sit there and act like, oh, Eric is genuinely a coon. It's me trolling.
Okay, what specifically are you referring to? What specifically are you referring to?
The entirety of the argument. Again, back to the original point, right? Especially when Malcolm X was brought up, I found that very interesting for his argument to be taken, for his quote to be taken out of place like that. Throughout the comment section, I believe it was something to the effect of, you should thank your critics, or your critics are responsible for some of your greatest successes, or something like that, which is an interesting point to bring up because critics critique and bullies harass, and it seems like that's being mixed up a lot, which is interesting.
Okay, I'm still at the kind of original post here because I'm trying to understand what exactly and that you are referring to when you claim that someone is cooning, and what you said. And please do correct me if I'm wrong.
The first retweet would be the original retweet.
The original tweet is so okay. So and you're saying that I guess I'm trying to either appease something. So I'm black and I said something, and you're saying it's to a mostly white audience, and therefore I'm cooning. So that's a form of coonery.
No, that's not all I said.
Okay, well, again, I would love for you. I'm trying to connect the dots here.
The fact that I don't genuinely think you believe, right? This is why I bring up that Malcolm X quote in which you were supporting.
So what specifically do you think I don't believe that I'm saying specifically for this reason?
The misquote of Malcolm X.
The misquote, like what and what exact, and that's of the effect of
not
that
the misquote, the misinterpretation at least.
Misinterpretation, and again, explain exactly what you're referring to. What was misinterpreted, and because obviously you are putting forth this idea that I'm being disingenuous, which leads again to the coonery as you are explaining it. I'm trying to go ahead.
I'm just going to find it in the thread. One sec.
Okay.
All right. What's more? All right. So this comes from the boy Techno. What's more positive than acknowledging someone who gave her the push to succeed? Quote: "If you have no critics, you likely have no success." Malcolm X. Right. You endorse that statement. Can we both agree that that statement was endorsed by you?
It's a basic, fundamental statement that says someone, and I mean referring to the original quote and the original person that we were talking to, or talking rather about, that person specifically stated that critic and or that person incentivized her, or rather inspired her to do what she deems as a great thing. I, of course, don't disagree with that. I mean, inevitably speaking, when you are doing great things, you are going to have critics. So I wouldn't disagree with Brother Malcolm X. Again, I don't exactly understand where the coonery part is coming in.
I have a question. You consider that to be a critic?
Yes. By literal definition,
How do you
yes.
define a critic?
I define someone that is publicly, or I mean, albeit maybe not in front of a mass audience, someone that is analyzing something, someone, some piece of work.
So is it the analyzing, or is it fundamentally disagreeing, or
I don't think
let's
it
say
necessarily has to be in disagreement for you to be a criticizer or criticizing or being critical of something.
so then how would you define the bully?
I would define, I guess, a bully, someone that, I mean, all bullies can be critics, for sure, but I would consider that someone that is obviously doing it with the purposeful, more so intention of malintention, if that sort of makes sense.
So for you, the only thing that separates a bully from a critic is malice.
Yes, purposeful.
I would disagree. I would say that a
Well,
bully
I have
is
no
an
desire to
inherent.
debate. I have no desire to debate semantics. I can tell you what I meant,
I
and
mean, no, this isn't just semantics, because now we're getting into the premise of why we're arguing in the first place.
not
So if
not
you want to
not
call it
not
semantics,
necessarily, because I can tell you what I mean by any statement, and you're welcome to ask, and I'm welcome to answer. What I won't debate or dispute is semantics. I have no desire to do that because
this
it may
isn't just semantics, though.
a
Because I mean,
term may mean
if
something
you're
to
down to
you.
debate, if you're down to talk about, right, what you consider a statement to be, then I'm going to do the same, and you can't just
Which
bring that down to semantics, because
Which is
now that we're talking
no.
about a
Well,
premise.
you
This
said
is
you
how
disagree. No, but that's the
the
thing.
premise of the debate.
My
I'm
my
saying I
position,
disagree.
right,
Absolutely.
and that's fine. I don't care. That's what I'm saying. I don't care that you disagree with
Right.
the assessment of the meaning of the definition, because the core of what I
Right.
stated,
And then
and
I
even
was
the core.
getting
Hold
into
on.
what I was
Let
going
me
to
finish
say.
this
So
real quick.
regardless
Hold
of
on.
whether you
Let
care
me
about whether I
finish.
disagree or
Let
not,
me finish. Can I please finish what I'm saying?
go ahead.
What we're saying about this whole bullying versus critic thing has absolutely nothing to do with why I brought
It
you on.
really
Hold
doesn't.
on, let me finish. I'll give you plenty of time to talk, ample time to talk. I have no desire to dispute what you actually mean or what you think the term bullying means, because that in itself has nothing to do, number one, with my original claim.
Yes, it does.
And no, it doesn't. My original claim was me responding to someone that said, and by the way, they didn't mention anything about bullying. Someone that
If one
said,
of your followers is endorsing a statement using a quote by Malcolm X, and that is being misinterpreted throughout the comments, this has everything to do with what we're
what?
talking
But
about right now.
Malcolm X didn't bring
And
anything.
I find it actually
Malcolm,
funny than that you stop me when I say I disagree, right? But then when I interrupt you, we have a problem, because I was actually
no,
getting into what I
I
mean, and I talked about the difference
not
between critique
necessarily, man. I'm
and
not.
bullying.
I'm not.
But I find it very interesting.
That's fine. That's fine. Find it as interesting as you like. Go ahead. Continue on.
I can finish.
One more time.
I can finish now, or are we gonna keep going back and forth?
I just said that you could say whatever it is that you need to say.
Okay, cool. But anyway, the difference between critiquing and bullying is bullying comes with the inherent aspect of harassing someone. At the end of the day, you sitting there telling someone that they're not going to be able to do something isn't critiquing. I think we can all agree on that
I
point.
disagree.
You
I
can say that
disagree.
doesn't.
That's
You
just
can say
doubt.
that this relates. You can say that doesn't relate at all to your original retweet or whatever may have you. But when you endorse a statement that automatically says, "Hey, this person's a critic," that's inherently that you're using that to support whatever you just retweeted. So whatever statement you just made. So whatever affirmative claim you just made. I find it interesting that you're saying it has absolutely nothing to do with what you reposted, but you endorsed the statement.
The statement that you referenced did not use the term bullying.
No, it didn't use the term critiquing.
Right. And
The term bullying has
you're
been brought
bringing up
multiple
bullying.
times
You're the
throughout
one
the
bringing something that is external that
I'm
has
bringing
nothing
up
to do with
bullying.
anything.
Your comment, people are talking about you should congratulate your bullies.
The one that you just mentioned that I endorse says nothing about bullying.
Right. But what I just did you not just hear what I said?
I did just hear what you said, and I'm confirming that the
So then
techno
I'm
person that you are.
I'm
We're
using
looking at the
surrounding
tweet right
evidence.
now. We're looking at the tweet right now.
Right.
You're bringing up bullying. No, the original
Right.
statement that you said that I affirmed, that you said that I endorsed, says nothing about bullying. It says nothing
We
about
have
bullying.
to get into the difference between critiquing and bullying so that we can talk about your original statement. Which is why I'm bringing up the evidence found throughout your comments posted by your audience,
you
including the retweets from which your audience is talking about. I would vote to cream pie her. I find it interesting that you attract those kind of people, but that's not what we're out here to
I
talk about,
don't
I
look,
guess.
man. The original post says nothing about bullying. The original claim that
The
you just,
original
and then
retweet says
the
nothing
follow,
about bullying, but all the evidence in the comments absolutely points back to that. I find that funny.
then you just stated that you said something of which that I endorsed. What you said that I endorsed. We're looking at the post right now, and I'm going to read it out loud. It says, "What's more positive than acknowledging someone who gave her the push to succeed?" And then he quotes Malcolm X. He says, "If you have no critics, you'll likely have no success." That says nothing about
Right, the
bullying.
person in her post was a bully, not a critic. Like, let's be honest. Let's be real
Okay.
here.
All right. Well, that would
That's
if
exactly
you
why
think
we're
the
pointing
person.
back to that. This isn't just
Okay,
semantics.
the person in the original post you're saying is a bully by them simply saying that they doubted someone could do something. If that's what you think is bullying,
If you tell someone that they can't do something, for instance, because they're a girl, or because they're black, you're a
there was
bully.
nothing that said
There's no
anything
way
about her
around
being a girl. There was nothing in the original post that said anything about her being a girl or anything like that of that nature. We're looking at the post right now. It says nothing about, in that original post that I specifically responded to, it says nothing about her being a girl.
Right, you can infer that though.
All right. Well, I'm not in the business of inferencing. Definitely in this regards, this has nothing, and all I can do is really tell you.
You are, because if you're not in the business of inferencing, we wouldn't have gone through the whole conversation.
No, I mean
about
you're speaking. I mean you can speak for
deflection all
yourself.
throughout
I
the
can tell
comments.
you what I mean, man. That's all I can do.
That's fine.
And I'm
just
telling.
saying, don't go back. Don't sit here and say you're not in the business of inferencing.
I'm not. I'm not. No. I'm
section.
saying inferencing in this, and obviously in this context, because you're going on a tangent about something that has nothing to do with what it is that I said or my position, and I'm stating, I have no.
I've tried it in multiple times.
I have clarified to
If
you.
you want to acknowledge that is not.
I have clarified to you what my position was, and I have clarified what was meant, and I've even given you the evidence as to why this is the position and why I am responding as such. That's what the original. I'm explaining it to you by the original post that I responded to, my original post, and then the follow-up post, which you claim that I endorsed. I'm looking at all of that. We're looking at it right now. None of those three instances mention anything about bullying per se. And my again, this is my individual position, has nothing to do with that. And
that's perfectly fine. Your individual position doesn't have to, is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you're endorsing statements that do support your original statement. If those are the positions that are supporting your original statement, you are endorsing those claims. Your original statement is now endorsing those claims.
No, the only claim that you claim that I endorse, I haven't endorsed anything pertaining to bullying to what you're referencing. No.
I'm not sure.
That's what I mean. Again, we're looking at it right now. The live audience is looking at it. There's nothing in the three posts that you again, one of which you claimed I endorsed.
Right. You limited it to the three posts, but not the post itself overall.
The post I'm looking at it. No, it's part of the
Anderson quote. No, he just made a case for bullying.
It's the post that we're responding to, and I already read it out loud. But
you're limiting it to just those three comments.
Well, you're the one that
very interesting.
You keep saying that you find things interesting, and
I'm not limiting what I'm talking about to that comment. What I limited this to was the tweet itself.
Okay,
including the comments of said tweet.
Okay, and the tweet itself, as I mentioned yet again, says nothing about bullying, and my response had nothing to do with that. Now you know. Now, I mean, I can understand where or your misassessment of it or misanalyzing of it, not my problem. Nonetheless, however, you now know what my position is. Now, if you still have issue with it, I have
people in the comments that you're endorsing who are saying this, who are mentioning bullying. Right? I find it interesting that we're going through all this runaround right now, when at the end of the day, you know what I'm talking about. There's no way you don't.
I will repeat this yet again. The specific post, we're looking at it now, my man. The specific post
my problem.
that you said I endorse says nothing about the bullying. Nothing. The one that you talked about regarding
like
Malcolm
I just said, you're limiting it to that post. I'm not just talking about that one.
But no, that's what
post.
you. That's all right. So what is it that
I use that to discuss how we define a critique or a critic from a bully?
Okay, so what
That
is
was
it?
the
What is
entire
it?
point of me bringing
What
up
is
that
your
Malcolm X
problem?
comment.
What
I
is your
think that's
problem?
the
What
case.
is the problem with what it is that I said that you have issue with? One of which you then use my race to try to suggest that I'm cooning because of a white audience, especially considering something that we're talking about has nothing to do with whiteness. That in itself is why I want you to explain to me what it is that what you mean and what you have an
I've
issue with.
explained the Putin
No, you,
comment.
not
I
no,
don't
you
think I need to
haven't.
go
You
back
said in
on
front of
that.
a white, but
Yeah.
what we're talking about has nothing to do with race.
What we're talking about has nothing to do with race, but I explained that Putin comment.
Right, right.
Or
Nothing. All
were you
right.
only listening to
So
when I
you're
said in
using,
front
so
of a
you're
mostly
just
white
using
audience? So
cooning.
that's the only
So
time you tuned in when I said that, or
I'm talking.
what's going on?
You mentioned the cooning thing, and that, obviously the whole master thing is in reference to that, right? That's what that's what you mentioned, not me. All I'm doing is asking you to not only clarify, obviously prove, but clarify what it is that you are stating, and more so why, because the context of what we're talking about has nothing to do with race. So the only thing that you're pulling in terms of this card is my personal race, as if you have some issue with what it is that I'm saying. And I'm okay with you having an issue with what it is that I'm saying. I just want you to be able to express to me why all of a sudden is that cooning just because I am a black person saying something, though what we're saying has nothing to do with whiteness.
I'm assuming this is being recorded, right?
You assume that what? One more time?
This call is being recorded, right?
No, the call is live. Yes, I mean right now we're
Right.
live
So
in front of
it's
almost
being
1,000
recorded.
people.
Right. No, so it's being so there's a recording of it, right?
I mean, I'm not personally recording it, but the video will be up for people to listen to as well as the podcast.
All right, cool. So around the 8-minute mark, I explained this. I
You,
explained that comment.
I know what you said. I'm asking you to further clarify.
No, I said because I said more. I said more than just it's a white audience.
No, then yeah,
I also
yeah,
included
I
that
know
there's no way
you
that you
said
genuinely
you
believe
said
that.
that I didn't believe you. Yeah, exactly. And and that's what I'm saying. I haven't said anything that I don't believe. So are you dismissing the comment it is that you're claiming because it rests upon that? So
I mean, that's fine.
okay, so the comment's null and void. So it doesn't mean anything. Okay, cool. Have no problem moving on from that. With that being said, again, with my original claim, you still seem to take issue with it as it pertains to. I know you're mentioning critics versus bullying. What is the problem with what it was that I said?
Because there's an inherent element of harassment when we're talking about bullies, right? And then you have people who are going off on a tangent talking about she just made a point for bullying. She's like, you should congratulate your bullies, blah, blah, blah. Even in the Malcolm X statement, you have people commenting under that talking about this is why you should congratulate your bullies. Malcolm X loved his bullies, blah, blah, blah. But if that was the case, right, wouldn't Malcolm X have also said, why don't we praise the state for being a burden? If that's how we're taking that comment.
No, I don't think that.
No, I think that, right? I genuinely.
Well,
think
you
that
asked me a question. I was going to answer. I was going to answer the question.
Bullying,
all right, so it was a rhetorical question. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, and continue. Continue on.
Question.
No, I disagree. I obviously disagree with that assessment because look, when it comes to bullying or not, and I'm not saying that I'm pro. Depending on how you define it, let's go there. Would mean if I'm pro or anti this concept. Now, obviously, I'm anti-aggression. That rests upon my entire philosophy of what it is that I personally advocate. Now, with that being said, I'm not completely ignorant to the idea that certain things that people do or say can light a fire under you, and it turns into something else. I say this in being an athlete my entire life. There was plenty of that. There was plenty of that from fellow athletes, from teammates, from even coaches and what have you, that where they would say something, even in doubt, which again, this is why I think this is kind of bizarre because we're specifically talking about that original claim. So I guess what we have to discuss is whether or not you consider that or the people that are commenting that bullying. And if you think using said doubt to be inspired to go be something great, I guess is bullying, then yeah, of course that embodies so many large different things. You know what I mean? And I totally understand because I speak from my own experience that, well, you can be inspired to be great by way of people doubting you. Great Chameleonaire quote from one of my favorite songs. He says, I want to show all of my haters love. This song's for you. If you had it like me and I was in your shoes, I'd probably hate on me too. So, I mean, again, this is why it's more of semantics than anything. But I don't think it. I still, again, my original claim, which we'll say out loud for the audio listeners. Big shout out to the boy for your inspiration. You owe him one, is what I said, and obviously that's what popped all this stuff. And you took interest, you took issue with that, and and that's why we had you on.
I take issue with that because it's interesting. Because even in the comments, right? Even if people defending you, you have people talking about spite is one hell of a motivator. Yada.
It is. It absolutely is.
I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to sit here and say it's not. That's not my claim right now. My claim is there is an issue with the underlying bullying. Period. Regardless if that inspires spite or not, you can admit that that's an issue.
I mean, in what capacity? I guess is the question. Like issue as in what? I mean, we're responding. This is why I thought this was kind of...
Because here's why I say there's a difference between critiquing and bullying, right? Because when you're critiquing someone, you're making them better by analyzing what they're doing wrong. Just telling someone they can't do something is not a critique.
Okay. And your opinion, and
so that's the bullying. I think I think genuinely, yes, bullying is wrong. There's no need.
Okay. That's cool.
That's why I think endorsing bullying, there's no point for that.
Well, I think again, the whole it's not nothing. You can have as much issues with that as you want. All I'm saying in the original statement that she said that, not me, that the boy inspired her to be an engineer working for the state. She said that, not me. And all I did was say, well, hey, well, you said it, so shout outs to the boy that inspired you. I didn't say it. She said it. She's the one that said that, and that's what I said. That was that, and that's why I think that even this whole entire conversation was kind of trivial in some of the responses. Like, we went from that to you trying to claim someone is cooning or dancing for someone with a little dancing black kid emoji, which again I think that's pretty fucked up, and I think it's a bitch. You a bitch ass nigga for doing that, if I can be completely honest with you in that regards. But nonetheless, that all started from you having issue with me simply acknowledging their inspiration that she said, not me.
I find that very funny. Because I wonder if you would do the same with the state, right?
As far as what?
As far as the state being a burden on Black lives, right? Like, oh yeah, I guess it inspires us to do more. Because
some people are, yeah. I mean, two things can be true. The state is bad and always will be, objectively speaking. That hasn't changed anything. As far as what I said, that people, despite aggression, and we've seen this historically, have utilized that energy and I mean, this is basic. I mean, from a psychological standpoint, people always talk about channeling that negative energy to go do something great. It's something you tell youngsters. It's something you tell old folk. It doesn't matter. It transcends generations. I don't think what I'm saying in that regard is particularly abnormal.
All day, but you also teach kids not to be fucking dickheads.
I don't see how I'm being a dickhead. I mean. In what it is I'm saying. Again, if I'm the dickhead, the original poster is a dickhead because she's the one that said she got inspired because of that, not me. All I did was affirm it. And you take issue with the affirmation.
You congratulated the kid who bullied her, which is interesting.
Again, I think that's if someone...
You're saying you're confirming an affirmation, but at the end of the day, you're taking it to a whole other level.
I'm not taking it.
You know exactly what you're doing.
You keep saying, like, I'm right here. I'm right here. Do you have something that you want to ask me? And I can have no problem clarifying. You keep saying you know what it is that you're doing. I'm giving it to you straight. You're here live in front of 1,030 people. I'm giving it to you straight. What are you confused on? Or what is it that you think I'm...
in front of your audience.
How am I
bullshitting?
Exactly
what you're doing.
What is that? What am I doing? doing? What am I
audience
doing?
here.
Tell me what I'm doing.
There's no formal debate happening here. There's no actual
Can you
points we're
tell?
discussing.
Can
You
you?
literally just brought me on
Can you
so that you
tell
could
me
sit
what I'm
here and
doing? Can
affirm
you?
your
All right.
own bullshit.
Can you tell me what it is that I'm doing? Since I know what it is exactly. What is it that I'm doing that you think I'm aware of? But I guess I'm kind of being
You
disingenuous.
know exactly that you're taking her statement to the extreme,
How am I taking
affirming
it
her
to the
bully.
extreme? How am I
How are you
taking it to the
taking it to the
extreme?
extreme? I just said how.
No, you
Let's
didn't.
not
No,
act
no,
stupid.
you didn't.
Let's not act. I just said you're
I
affirming
simply
her bully.
affirm. I simply
I just said you're affirming her bully. Are you serious?
affirming the bully.
That's how
What
you
does that mean? What
congratulate
is that?
somebody.
What does that
That's how
mean?
you. That's how you
I
congratulate
actually,
somebody.
I don't. I'm not congratulating her at all. Actually,
Really? So what's the point? So what's the point of the statement? You said shout out. You said shout out to the
yes,
guy, right?
I said shout out. I'm affirming what it is that
Right,
she
and that's
said.
bullshit. That's fucking retarded, and you know it.
All right. I see that you take issue with it. You can explain to me, and or I can explain it further as far as what your issue or whether what it is that I meant by what it is that I said. I'm totally aware of the post, and I will give it to you straight. The point is, she and me acknowledging it utilized a bully. There's 2 points to this. She utilized a bully to go do what. This is why I kept. Hold on, let me finish. This is exactly why I said to make the. That's why I make the distinction that she thought she did something great. And that was, which according to her, coming directly from some boy in high school that, as far as what she said happened, all the guy said was, you will never work for NASA. I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't even believe this fucking story. What I'm saying here is that
That's perfectly fine. That's not what we're
right,
discussing.
right, and I'm again telling you what it is that I was doing. I'm pointing out what she's doing. And I would love for her to come to that realization as to the fact that she utilized a boy and whatever negative energy, negative thing that he said, which again was a basic statement of doubt, which you're saying was bullying. Whatever, neither here nor there from the semantics of what that means. And she turned that to go do what she acknowledges or what she feels as something as great. I have no desire to affirm that portion of like whether or not it is great objectively speaking, but what she said, I'm simply affirming that and highlighting how she did it. She did it. She did it. She utilized a boy saying something negative and then turned that into greatness. And that specific deal, that specific instance.
So you shout out the boy?
Yeah, I said shout out to the boy for being your inspiration, pointing out that fact. It's a snarky comment in that regards.
So you admit that it's a snarky comment?
I didn't. Yes, I said I've never said it wasn't.
You also never said it was. It's the whole problem.
What the
f- we're debating in the first place.
That's not my problem. That's not my. Of course, it's a snarky
It is your
comment.
problem. You make the statement on your problem.
No, it's not my. You're the one that takes issue with it.
That's literally your problem. That's the entire point. That
That's
we're debating
not
right now.
my
Otherwise,
problem. That's not. No, that's your issue. That's a you problem. If you got an issue with it being snarky, that ain't got nothing to do with me. And I explained.
No, my problem is you have to admit that it's snarky. You never did that in the first place.
Yes, I admit that it. I have no problem admitting that it's snarky. It's a snarky.
That's perfectly fine.
Okay, it's a snarky comment.
Then just say that. It's also misogynoir, but you're not going to admit that.
Well, no, because that would be you gaslighting and saying something is what it's not.
In what way?
In what way? My only statement in terms of, again, going back to the original post, which has not left, it is still up. I made a snarky comment, though I'm not being dishonest, I'm not being disingenuous, and that's not what that term means when I say I'm being snarky in that regards. I'm saying that obviously I'm highlighting the fact that she used that boy, or it took that boy. And it took that boy for her to be inspired to go do what she feels is something great. It's a snarky comment, but it's not like I'm being dishonest or I'm not being disingenuous or anything like that. And I have no problem admitting that. None.
Right. So what are we talking about here? Because that was literally the entire point of the conversation.
What we're talking about here and why I brought you on was because, again, you went on kind of the other way with it, playing on my race and all sorts of things. And I wanted to just kind of so we can cut that kind of communicative ice barrier that exists because of, well, not ice barrier, it's just a barrier in general on Twitter and with limited characters and whatnot. And I wanted to have an honest discussion with you about this particular topic because you went, again, we went from this post to you making a play on my race.
And like I said, folks, you can record back, can either go back to the 8-minute mark where I explain
right,
that,
right. No, I'm just exactly. We've already discussed, and we've already been through the fact that is null and void because now you know that I'm not saying anything that I don't believe or something of that nature. Which, as you admitted and conceded, makes that point null and void. So you'd have to disagree, or rather, yeah. So that's what that. I mean, if you have nothing else, I have no issue moving on, but. That was the reason why I brought you on, and now you've conceded that it's a null and void statement, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. We can move on from that. Now, I mean, you're saying that this misogynoir. I mean, that was a new statement. If you wanna confirm that, or rather express what you mean by that or what that means, by all means, you can do that as well.
Again, back to your point, and that you're not going to inference whether or not it'll be a moot point because you're never going to agree on the premise that this was
right. Yeah. If it's dishonest or based upon a falsehood, then no, I wouldn't agree with it at all. I'd reject the premise. I reject the premise entirely. Yes.
All right, you can reject that premise, but whether or not it's a falsehood is interesting.
No. Whether it's I'm only going to reject the premise if it's a falsehood, and yes, if you make a claim and then try to make an argument, or rather have a claim and you're making an argument based upon that, though that claim in itself or where you're operating from is
for the claim. The claim itself is an inference.
Explain.
The claim you can infer from her tweet that boy was clearly talking about her gender.
Well, I didn't pick any of that up from it. I will say that. I will tell you that has nothing to do with what it was that I'm saying. People definitely in this case, there's people been working for.
You to mention the gender of the person who said whatever was said in the middle of the tweet if you're not going to infer that he was talking about her gender.
Again, that's you picking up that. I didn't. But if that's what she's referencing, then well, that's interesting. Because I mean, she didn't say that was why he said it, and even in the claim or the quote, it's like. You would never do it because you're a girl. That's not what he said. Or that's not what she at least said. That's not the information that we have here. But again, now you know. Now you know that has nothing to do with what it is that I wasn't even going that route. Doesn't really change much, but I wasn't even going that route as far as what I was saying. Now you know that too. So that would mean, again, the premise is rejected, much like the previous statement of the coonery. And now, and this is why we wanted to have you on, so we can kind of decipher through all of that. It looks like two assumptions here.
You rejected the premise. That doesn't necessarily mean that we've gotten into the argument, which is, again, kind of facetious.
How is that?
Because the way you're structuring that kind of makes it seem like we just went through the entire point itself.
Well, yeah, all right. Well, I mean, if you want to continue to go through it, I mean, by all means, do it. I'm telling you what my point is and what I picked up from it, and obviously I'm responding based upon that.
No, that's perfectly fine. Just don't phrase it like we went through with the whole coonery thing.
Oh my! All right. You said that we did it at the 8-minute mark. What are you talking about? Let's continue. If there's more to talk about, let's.
There's not any more to talk about regarding the coonery. That's why I'm saying don't phrase.
Okay, what else? All right, continue on. If there's more to talk about, continue on. By all means, continue on.
Again, I just said there's really no more to talk about regarding the coonery comment.
All right, no, well, yes.
As far as the misogynoir comment, what I'm saying is you will not equate that to the coonery comment or any discussion.
And that's why I'm telling you to explain it further so we can kind of nip it in the bud like we did the previous comment. Go ahead.
You're not gonna accept the inference. There's no point.
Okay. So if I don't accept it, I'm only not accepting it because it's based upon a falsehood. Now, I have no problem answering any questions that you may have in this regard. None.
It's not a delusion. It doesn't necessarily mean it's based on a falsehood.
You
can infer the meaning of something just because you didn't catch on doesn't necessarily mean that the claim.
Actually, that's all that matters is my assessment of it. If you're going to claim that I am doing something.
If
That's
I'm
the
gonna
only
call
thing
you
that matters.
misogynist just because you missed out on something,
Yes, yes. If you cannot,
no.
yes, absolutely. You would be being again the one being here disingenuous if you're making a claim that I'm being misogynistic or something like that. Obviously, with by using something or a claim that I never made, a statement that I never even operated on. You can't do that.
Again, I'm not saying that you made the statement. What I'm saying is inherently in this claim there is that, and you're responding to that, and this is how your response ends up
All
coming
right,
out. Because
right,
you'll literally say that
I'm
you're the bully.
explaining to you, that has nothing to do with what I'm saying. So I get that. If that was your assessment, fine, perfect. I mean that's your business. I'm only talking about this whole misogyny war as it pertains to me, because I take that as you claiming that is something that I individually position that I personally hold. Now, if that's not the case, fine. If that's what your assessment of the original post was, fine. But that has nothing to do with me as far as what it is that I'm saying.
But it does.
How so?
In the sense that was already inherently inside of that post. Anyone can infer that from this girl's post.
Well,
you go back, you double back, and then you circle back, and you sit here and say, well, we should congratulate the bully. Can both hats off to the bully.
Well, I thought we already kind of went there, and
just because you're not operating off of that inference doesn't necessarily make the claim any less misogynistic for anybody else.
You can't claim that I'm being misogynistic unless you talk about what my actual intention was and what it is that I'm responding to, as far as what I'm operating from. If I'm operating on this idea that this has little to nothing to do with that, you cannot make a positive claim of me being misogynistic. You can't do it. Let's say that you can do it. You just be dishonest. And if you want to be dishonest just because you're so itching to say that I am being misogynistic, say that. But I'm telling you what my intention was, and that had nothing to do with it. And I'm here to ask any questions, or rather, answer any questions that you may have in that regard so I can clear it up. I have no problem doing that.
So do your intentions supersede the impact of how other people took that claim?
Yes, absolutely. 100%. 100%. 100%.
So that's really fundamentally disagree.
All right, that's fine. Irrelevant. But that's fine. I mean, you can't either way when it comes to.
No, it is. I mean, it's relevant, but go on.
No, it's not relevant. It's how you're taking something and it's you seeing the world for what you want it to be, as not what it actually is.
If you can make an inference from a claim that's already in there.
Again, this whole inference thing is all this is you're assessing it, the original claim, in a different way than what I did. That's it. That's all. That's all that happened. You picked up on it. You picked up on it, or rather, what you would wanted me to respond to was not what I had responded to.
Okay.
Which again, that's not a big deal. I mean, that's something fundamental. This is why we have conversations to decipher through rather all of that, so we can get to the nitty gritty and actually have some sort of honest dialogue. But you know now what that was not even what it was that I was specifically even responding to. You could swap in literally anything else. It doesn't matter if you it was boy, they, them, non-bot. You could swipe literally any term, and my position remains the exact same, and my response to it remains the exact same. It rests upon nothing regarding that person's gender. Nothing. And if it was, I'd fucking tell you.
You're going to reject the claim being me. That's perfectly fine, and we have nothing to talk about.
One more time?
I said you're going to reject the claim being me. That's perfectly fine. We just have nothing to talk about then.
Yes, absolutely. Of course, I reject the premise. So, I mean, because it's not true. That's all. So now though. We know that, obviously, by your own, do you think that we've nipped this in the butt?
Pick up on it. Big difference.
One more time?
Because you weren't able to pick up on it.
That's fine. I mean, that's fine. I wasn't able to pick up on it. Again, that doesn't really mean much to me.
Two different statements.
That, again, doesn't mean anything to me. But now we've nipped that in the bud.
That's right.
we've nipped that in the bud, much like the cooning thing, right? Is that now we kind of we were talking, or rather, it was a misassessment of what it was that I was saying, or what it was that I meant. More importantly, what my actual intentions were. Do you think that we nipped the misogynistic thing in the bud, much like we did with the cooning thing that you originally claimed?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to discuss?
No, there's nothing else to talk about.
Perfect. Well, again, I appreciate you calling in and kind of having this discussion with us, man. I'll let you go, man, and I hope you have enjoy the rest of your night or day. He just hung up. Didn't even say bye to me. Damn, that's fucked up. It's fucked up, man. Fucked up. You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.